Invite and welcome to the show. I very do much appreciate your time and I'm very grateful for you.
Brother, I am the one to say thank you. I appreciate the invite, and I'm here, open, and it's really excited to be part of this amazing opportunity.
Perfect. Mr. Max, for a starter, can you please tell us who is Maximiliano Correa and what do you do?
Brother, I'm a father of two beautiful daughters, a husband, a family man. Uh, I've been living in UAE for the past 9 years, 8 years since 2016, working
Hmm.
in UAE as a jiu-jitsu coach to the army program. But not always it was my profession. I used to be air traffic controller in Brazil. It's a very stressful but rewarding profession. And that's it. I'm a family man, faith man, Christian. Uh, Not too much to talk about, but I think that we can have a good time.
Perfect. What do you think is the role of Jiu-Jitsu in the society?
It's a big role, actually, especially here in UAE. We can talk about sports in general. Sports, there is uh, it's a complementary role to combat stress. To bring, we can talk especially for kids. For example, it builds character. It brings them the notion of who they are and what they can do. It brings the confidence to fight, like not only inside the tatami or the mat or the practicing of sports, but to bring to their own life the confidence to fight their
Hmm.
challenges. And children, they have a lot of of challenges. They have to face the society. They have to learn how to be part of a group, to the relationship in the schools, how to organize themselves among their peers, among of the students itself, or brothers, sisters, siblings, father. There is also this relation, and this relation we can work in the tatami, and the coach has a lot of responsibility to do that, and there is a big role in the coach's activity when he's building this kind of character in the children. So it's kind of a lab. It's
I
a
see.
small lab, yeah, to what they do in their
So,
own life. So it's
so in other words, let's say it has a big role in building the character of the children, which via time is going to build the character of the society that we are living in.
exactly it. Exactly, in my opinion, it's kind of stabilize the mood. If you have a very aggressive children, for example, the children start to know themselves and to spend a lot of energy inside the tatami, and then it becomes a little bit calm, or calmer than the usual. But if you have a very like slow kid and calm, and you most of the parents wants to push a little bit to be an active kid, it's also happening at the time because children start to develop the technique and to do the exercises, and then become a little bit more fast, smart, and start to. So it's a technique, or it's a sport that level up and stabilize the mood itself and the character of a kid. It's very important. And if we are talking about professions or adults, or if we are talking about us practicing jiu-jitsu, it's also amazing because it's one of the ways we can fight the daily stress. I'm not even talking about to be an
Mm,
athlete, or to be competitor. Just if you are working, for example, you have jiu-jitsu as uh, the practicing sports that you are doing to fight stress and to put everything that you are going through in the tatami, and then you go back to your life, and you feel like a lot of serotonin and endorphin in your blood, and you become like calmer and you fight stress with jiu-jitsu. It's a very good technique for that as well.
I think so. In other words, it can channel the energy levels into the right direction of of us, basically.
Exactly. You channel, you put a
Yeah.
channel,
Now, there's
and
something
you
that,
put the
yeah.
energy. Yeah. Sorry. Go ahead.
No, no, I'm sorry. I wanted to say something, but you were talking about the exact same thing, so you can continue.
No, no. I was just complimenting that. It's exactly what you were saying. You channel your energy in a place that it's a right place to do it. Most of the time, we are going through tough times in our lives, and we don't know how to channel our energy and power. And sometimes we can do that in a wrong way. We can put our and we start to fight with our spouses, or be aggressive with our kids, or for example, and that's not good. So you go to jiu-jitsu, you do martial arts in general, or any other sport, but martial art, there is this sense of combat that you have to fight to win or to make a good position, or you put a lot of energy. Then it's a channel that you can put every frustration, every anger, and you have to put in a right way. You cannot go out of the rule. You have to respect your opponent, and it's a very good channel and a proper way to do it.
Beautiful. Mr. Max, I want to get into the topic of faith. You told me that you're a man of faith. Can you please tell me what role does faith play in the society, please?
Uh, it's a very good topic, and I've been a Christian since I was born. My father is a pastor. He's a very religious man, and he taught us inside the principles of faith in general. And I love that the way that I was born in the that I was raised, because there is a way of faith in general. It's a way to put your walking in life, or your path inside. Uh, Let me rephrase that. If you are if you are living in society, if you are living in the, especially in the Western and Oriental society, you, it was built inside the principles of faith, Abrahamic faith, for example, the faiths that gives you all the understanding of what's wrong and what's right, and makes you, if you are building this kind of way, you know what kind of decision you can take. So that reflects in the society. So if you raise a kid inside of this kind of parameter, you always the kid, when becomes an adult, is always know they always know what kind of decision they have to take in order to respect others and to live in society, and the difference between right and wrong, the difference between good and bad. And also it builds in you that strength that God's with you, and you can face every challenge during the day. So works in your society life, and also in your personal life. So it's it's a huge topic. We can go further on that, but in general, for me, it's like this.
It's a topic that I'm very interested in, actually. And you mentioned that it plays a role in determining the good and the bad, and how, let's say, the society as a whole should behave, in a sense. Um, let's talk about the good and the bad. What defines a good behavior and what defines a bad behavior when we are living amongst others? or let's say when we are living amongst the population.
Exactly. That's exactly the role of the holy books. For example, we have in the Islam, we have the Quran. For the Christians, we have the Bible, and that is exactly the rule. The measure that we are putting our lives upon. So we are raised, and in the whole books they start to teach us about sin. They start to teach us about the story of our people, of the traditions, and then we start to understand since the beginning what kind of attitude we have to to have in our lives in order not to bother other people. For example, you shall not kill. In most of the holy books, you can find this same statement: you shall not kill, because kill is wrong. It's a sin, and it's a sin against God. It's a sin against the society. It's a sin against other. It's a sin against you. So that kind of statement you can only find in the. Can you imagine a society that was not built upon this kind of rules, or upon it was built in another kind of understanding? It's impossible. It's almost anarchy. So, in my opinion, if you raise a kid and you start to teach since the beginning, since the it was a little kid, as a Christian, I understand that everyone born sinners, né? Everyone born apart from God, and they have to find their way and understand their own God and find their way into the salvation, or to go to the salvation. And that search for the salvation, it's exactly how you start to become. You go from a bad person to a good person when you are looking for the salvation. You're looking for God to stand their hand and say, "Yeah, that's a good son. Come to me, my son." And that's exactly how you build character, when you are looking to please God with your attitude and the ways you're doing. And you can find this in most of the Abrahamic religions, for example.
That's that's very interesting. Can we please talk about salvation, the road to salvation? You told me that, for example, we are born, let's say, bad in a sense, and we have to go through the road of salvation to get closer to God. Um, how can we know the correct path? Like, how can we be guided into the road to salvation, or into the road of being good?
To talk about that, I'll have to go a little bit further. In my religion, I understand a little bit about other religions, but I can only say my point of view, my way to understand, and the way I was raised. And then I don't want to say that any other person is wrong or right, but of course I have to be a little bit more to the side of what I understand to be the process of salvation. As I told you, in the way Christians see, we are all born bad, we are all born sinners, and we have to find a solution for that problem. Since Adam and Eve, the way that they were created without that, and since they sin, we are apart from the glory of God, from the presence of God. We were separated from that. We got separated from the presence of God in the daily basis. It says in the Bible and also in the Quran that God went down to be with Adam and Eve, and after sin, they got separated. Then something needs to be done to reconnect God and us and humankind. And then, in the point of view of the Christian side, we understand that Christ was that point of connection. Then he was prophesied that Christ would come as a son of God, and he would die. And because he was not a sinner, his death would pay for our sin. And if you believe in his death, you would be saved. And it's a very simple point of view as a Christian. You believe in Christ as a God, that he came He was not a sinner. He didn't commit sin, and he died in the cross and he resurrected the third day. And if you believe in that, his sacrifice would pay for your sin, and then his grace is upon you to be saved as well. And then he changed your character, because after that the Holy Spirit come to live with you. I know that in some of other, even the Abrahamic religions like Jewish and Islam, I know that's a little bit different. And you have to understand the difference. But in most of the religions, salvation comes through the belief that only God can reach you, and only God can give you that. So you have to please God in a way, or to do something to God, and then God will give you the salvation back. So, and then you have to start this relation with God, and it's individual. I cannot say about your relation with God, and nobody can tell about my relation with God. It's completely individual. And as a Christian, we understand that that relation is only built upon the believing in Jesus Christ as a Savior.
Interesting. Now, I want to get into the topic of why. For example, in other words, you told me that we have to go into the road of salvation to get closer to God. Um, can you please help me understand why should we as humans do that? In other words, why were we born as bad, and why do we have to go through the road of salvation? So why are we controlled to go into a single path of being closer to God only, in a sense?
Okay, if I understood well, the question is why we have this need to go to this road of salvation, correct? Why
Yes.
it born on us? That's a very profound question, and then as I told you, I can only give you my personal experiences and my personal opinion about it. But the way I see, uh, after we got separated from God because of sin, there is this hole in our chest, this space in our chest. We are seeking for something. We are looking for something. Every human, every person, they're always looking for something. There is this need inside of us to be whole, to be complete, to be one again. And this exactly feeling, sometimes we are looking for that in the wrong place, in my opinion. Sometimes we are looking for that in the drugs. Sometimes we are looking for that, sorry about that, but it's true, in sex. Or sometimes we are looking for that in adventure, adrenaline. And 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 we are not, we
True.
this kind of things sometimes it gives us a sense of fulfillment, of that we are doing good, or excitement. Okay, but it's not permanent. So in my opinion, the only way that we can fulfill this hole, this space inside our chest, and be completely whole as one, is when you get together with God again. So you were separated before, and now, because you are looking to fulfill this whole, and you start a relationship with God, a sincere one, and then this space in your chest start to be fulfilled until you find whole with your Creator again. We have to understand that He is the our Creator. He's the one that created us. There is no way to find the real purpose of our lives outside the creator. It's just like a machine, if we can compare. Okay, you there is a specific car, electric car, let's say Tesla. It's a very common and ordinary car, electric car. We can use the Tesla for any other reason, but only the engineering that created that technology, that really knows what is for, what is about, what's the purpose of Tesla, correct? So, understanding God as the creator of our lives, only in God, only in God again, we can understand our purpose. And purpose is what we are looking for. You are looking for the purpose of your life. I'm looking for the purpose of my life. Everybody's looking for that. Sometimes we are looking in the wrong place. Sometimes it's very easy to just go to your room, bow your knees, and pray, God, please show me the purpose of my life. And then you start this relationship with God. And individually, I'm pretty sure that God will answer. And He will come and He will fulfill your life. And you're going to be pleased with everything. And you don't need to look in another place anymore. So I don't know if I was able, it's a very profound question because our life is complex.
Yeah.
We don't have simple, it's not a simple answer, but I think that we are in the start of the way to answer that question.
Actually, I enjoyed the notion that you mentioned about, for example, that only the creator would know the purpose of something that he or she have created, let's say. Because a lot of people spend their lives just looking for their purpose. And I think that they are worrying about something which is making them miss the opportunity to live and the opportunity to enjoy, let's say, life and what's around us, because they are trying to think about this question, this profound question. Um, I want to talk about the question that I usually like hear people talking about, which is, do we have a choice in our destiny, or is it a preset for us by God when we are born? In other words, do our actions play a role in where we are going in the story of life?
Yeah, that's a very good question. Even inside the religion, we have people with variety of answers for that. Even inside the Christianity, we have a group that understands this one way, and another group that understands the understanding is a different way. Even in Islam as well, the people tend to understand differently. So my opinion, it comes from, we have to go back to the point of view that the reason God created us, and also to connect to the past question, the reason that God created us was one of the reasons it was to have a good relation with us. He wants to have relation with us. God is a relation God. In Christianity, for example, we have a God in three persons: the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. They are all one. So it's in our point of view of how God is. I don't think that we can understand God in fully, completely, but because He's a superior being. But in a sense, that how the Bible describes God, it's a God that likes relationship, that that likes to be in a relation with someone. And one of the reasons that we were created was to have a relationship with us. So God wants to have a relationship with the mankind, with the humankind. And if it's hard for me to understand that God wants to have a relationship with a robot that he knows what's going to happen. So I think that we are free to take our own decision, and that's the free will that God puts in our heart. So we can choose to be with God and then please Him. It's hard to understand that He will decide for us, and He will be pleased with the decision that He Himself took. So I the way I see it's more the in our perspective, the way we can see, the only way He will be pleased with our relation is He give me the authority to take my own decisions and to choose my destiny. And then I choose to be with Him. My choice is to go back to Him. My choice is to have a relationship with Him back. And then He starts to be pleased with me. So the way I see, uh, He's Almighty, He's all powerful, He has all the knowledge, and He can see the future. I see that by His knowledge He can see, but He will never take this decision for us. I prefer to see the answer of this question in a man perspective. We cannot understand how God thinks and how God works, and we would never do. So the best way to answer this kind of question is how I see, how I can have a perspective about my destiny. I can change my destiny. I can change my decisions. I can change my attitude, and then I can this take a decision between my right and my left hand, the good and the bad, the wrong and the right, and that's what makes you a free being to be in relationship with your God, and that's one of the purpose you were created for. So that's more or less how I see it's very uncomfortable for me, the idea that I cannot take this decision. It's all taken, it's all decided. I cannot change my destiny. So for me, the way I see, I have to take the control of my life, the will of my life, and I have to decide between turn left and wrong. And even to society, that differentiates a lot, because then you can say that if you committed a crime, it was all written already. I was born to be a criminal. That's my destiny. I'll die in the jail because God wrote this way. No, I don't think this way. I think that we can take decisions. We can take the control of our lives. We can turn the wheel right, left, and then we proceed, and then we can do good and we can do bad, and we have to understand that there's consequence for these actions. If we do bad, there is a consequence, and if we do good, or uh, uh, something to prosper the society, and there is also a consequence for that. Then that's more or less my way to see and my perspective, and I hope I was able to answer.
Thanks so much for this answer. One more thing crossed my mind currently is in the current era, let's say, or in the current times that we are living in, we see that, let's say, there's a big gap between religion and, let's say, the way people are thinking and science, let's say, in a sense. How can we bring people closer to the road of being closer to God? Like, for example, you as a pastor, um, I'm pretty sure that you have crossed many, let's say, souls which are lost, or men and women which are lost in their lives. So, how can you put them back on track from being lost in this world that we are living in currently?
Yeah, that's amazing question, and that's actually the daily work of a pastor spiritually. That I would say, let's say, for example, the kind of society we have in UAE, where we have a very mixed society in UAE with 85, almost 90% of expats from several places in the world, and we are all coming to UAE, and it's an amazing country to do our lives and to work and to make the history of our lives. And that's more or less how we build the UAE society, with a mix of people, cultures, tradition, and etc. Correct? And then it's very common that people come to UAE and they let their family apart in their homeland, their home country. So they have no family support. They are not living inside the protection of their own religion anymore. They are in a very mixed place where most of the time uh, they have to take their own decision about religion, and they have to take the responsibility if they go or not go, if they pray or not pray, if they. So what I try to do it as a pastor is to make people understand that regardless the tradition or the family pressure that they used to have in their own country, or the way they were born or the way they were raised, they have to a responsibility with themselves to understand God in a way and to live accordingly. Correct. So the way I do my counseling as a pastor is, brother, how do you really understand God and the purpose that you have in your life? And then I listen, and then I try to make that person live their own life according to what they understand. Of course, we can talk about God as we are doing for example, now. I'm pretty sure that I'm not here trying to convince you of anything, not neither you or you're, but we can try to make people open their minds, understanding a little bit more further than they were understanding, and live accordingly. What I see in the society right now, we are living a society of speech. We talk too much. We have a lot of speeches, like, and most of the time, we are living ideas that are really far from what we really believe. We are Instagram, social media. We read, and we start to live that idea or that kind of philosophy that there is no connection to what you really believe. So we start to be hypocrite. So, and to live in a lie. So we are not living according to the the faith that we really have in our hearts. So my counsel as a pastor is to make people live their lives accordingly to their faith. I try to make them express themselves. If for example, I'll give a very, it's a simple example, but it's a good one. If in their faith, their own faith, not mine, it's wrong to say bad words or to curse. So I try as a pastor to make them understand, brother, why are you cursing? Why are you saying bad words? There's no reason for that. And even you don't understand that this is a good thing. So in all the small things in life, I try to counsel people in order to live according to their own faith or the way that understand religion. Uh, of course, if they ask, I'll give you my opinion about how I see the Bible, how I see the religion, how I see the spiritual connection between man and God, as we are doing now. But that's not even the main point of my work as a pastor.
Very beautiful. Something that currently also is part of our society is the diversification of religions. Like, we have too many religions, and everyone thinks that this path is the right path, or this religion, and they have this, let's say, extremism of ideology towards the idea that they are following. So, what do you think is a proper way to bring people together in this aspect? Because I honestly think that when it comes to Islam, Christianity, Judaism, or any other religion, like the core soul of the religion speaks for same thing, like the same idea of living peacefully in a society amongst people and getting closer to God, as you mentioned. However, for some reason, people have this tendency of protecting their ideas and rejecting everything else.
Yeah, Exactly. Uh, the way I see is I can only tell about my own religion and the statistics that we are facing now. For example, people used to say, I'm a Christian. Okay. So, as a Christian, you have the holy book, the Bible, correct? And then I ask to that person, uh, if you are a Christian, have you read the Bible fully? Have you read the whole book? No, I never read the whole book. It's too big. So, but if you ask people, have you read all the books of Harry Potter? Yes, I read Harry Potter. Oh, The Lord of the Rings? Yes, I read The Lord of the Rings. Yeah, but you read your own book, your own holy book, to fully understand your own faith? No, I've never done. So to answer this question is, in my opinion, it's as is a as much as it's a profound question, how to bring people together. But the answer for me is people tend to pick some parts of the religion that they want to follow,
True.
and other parts of the religion that they don't understand or they don't not even know they don't want to follow. So they start to build a mix of understanding between the philosophy, between what their university teacher are saying, between what they are reading in secular books, and the small part of the holy book that they know, and they put this all together in a pot. They cook, and they think that they have a religion process in their heads, and that's not good, actually. Okay, so if you're an Islamic person, you have to really well know the Quran and live accordingly the Quran, but in a whole. You cannot pick one part of the Quran and say, no, that's what I am, that's what I'm gonna do. Because you are taking a text and you are putting out of context, and that's dangerous. It creates dangerous understanding. It creates wrong understanding. To pick part and put out of the context. There is a context where this text was it was written. And also the Bible. There is a whole context for all the Bible. Even it was written for different person in different times. But if you read from the beginning and you were teach what's the real meaning, you can find that the context is peace, it's good relationship with people, it's to love. There is a part of the Bible that say that the, the most important gift is to love people. Love is the greatest gift. You can do supernatural things. You can do whatever you want. You can convince people. If you do not love them, it doesn't matter. There is no value, and it's written in the Bible that. But people has a tendency to do not see this verse because they don't want to look the Bible as a whole piece. They want just to pick what please them, what makes them okay with themselves. Correct? And
See,
in most of the religions, I see that that's happening as well.
Mr. Max, I have something, and I think it's like an also deep question. And for example, us as humans, we have certain criteria that makes us humans. From characteristics, for example, like having the love for ourselves and questioning, and we have certain characteristics, let's say, in a sense. Now, you told me that we have to follow the path of God to get closer to Him or her, and that's the only way to salvation. So, my question is, since God knows that we have certain characteristics that's gonna make us question the presence of God in the universe. And if we don't believe in God in the universe, then we're going to be categorized as, let's say, sinners, and we would go to hell. I mean, in other words, it's like I'm giving the authority to do something, and if I did it in a way of thinking and I went away from the idea of religion, I'm going to be considered a sin. And I'm asking this question from a point of view of like, how so? Did I deliver my idea in the correct manner?
Yeah. Yeah, yeah, of course, it's a it's a very tough question, and I'll try to in a few words to give you my point of view as well. For me, it's very hard to understand that as normal. I was never this kind of person, so I don't know exactly what goes in the mind of someone that looks outside and see the sun rising or the sun going down or see the universe and see the thing and do not see God. I'm a very, as a man of faith, I can see God in everything. It's very easy for me uh, to make my process of adoration through contemplation. So it's very easy for me to see God in you, see God in the nature, see God in the universe, and see God in science. So because I was taught this way, and also because as an adult, my faith brought me to this kind of understanding that I can see God in everything. For me, there is a smart being in the backstage of everything he created. He's coordinating the stars, the universe, and even the spiritual world. And then it's very easy to see that these things are connected, and God is connected to science, for example. I see science, and I really like to read articles and to be and people like to make a separation between the religion and science or God and science. And for me, it's very easy to see that there is a connection between God and science. So if you look for an atom, for example, you have three parts of an atom that makes them one: neutrons, protons, and electrons. And then it's just a signature of God being Father, Son, and Holy Spirit, three in one. It's very easy to see three in one in a lot of things in the life, in the music, harmony, rhythm, and compass. So in music as well, you see three things that together makes one. Even a human being, we are soul, we are emotions, and we are physical part. We are three in one. So it's a signature of the creator in the universe. So it's really hard for me, and I don't think that God condemn you to hell because you do not believe in Him or do not see in Him. God made us to heavens. God made us to have a relationship. We were the one since Adam to take this decision that we don't want Him. So in a sense of we took the decision not to believe. We took. It's not that God sends you to hell because you're not believing in Him. You understand what I'm saying? Uh, it's we are free to take our own decision, and we can see that things are happening in a certain way or the one way. We are presented in the way of God, and we reject it. We don't want. So we are taking this decision, and my point of view, and I can only say in my point of view, that unfortunately, I was never this kind of person that woke up in the morning. I have a lot of questions in my mind. I have a lot of questions to make God when I finally meet Him in my afterlife. But I was never someone that, because of question, I doubted the process. That's not my personality. Questions make me to understand that there is someone that knows better, that are bigger than me. Just this, in my opinion. We are not infinite. We are not eternal. We are not all powerful, all might. We have limitation as human beings. So these questions is just the way it is. We cannot understand everything. So God put these questions on us. It's His, even because He wants us to have free will, to choose, to understand, to seek, to look for, to move, to go forward. And that's the way we do it. We question everything, every process. Am I staying home today, or am I going out? Am I working? Am I so? Questions are the way God made our minds to work, and question never will be, because of we have question. God will never punish us. That's not the way He works. We can have any question, even about Himself, but we have to understand He's willing to answer these questions. He's willing to talk to us. So uh, it's very hard for me to understand how someone have questions and then he questioned the existence of God. No, if I have questions, I come to God to receive the answers. That's the always was the way I see. So I more or less it's hard. It's a very hard question to answer, and I know that people tends to understand completely different, and but that's my opinion about it.
Very beautiful. Actually, it's a first time that I hear such a point of view, and I like the idea that you're a person who sees God in everything around us. Because honestly, I've spoken to some people, and they see life in a different eye, let's say, and it's beautiful to see that. I mean, life has also like a different lens to it, and it's the lens that you just described to me. I want to talk about the soul. You told me that us humans, we are like the mental, the physical, and the soul. What is the soul?
It's the spiritual part. Now, in our way to see religion, we have emotions, we have the psyche, that this where our thoughts are organized, the way our thoughts are organized. We have the body, it's the physical part, and healthy comes from the body, and we have the soul, that's the spiritual part that connects with the spiritual warfare. So the soul is inside of us, what really connects to God Himself. uh, some people understand that we have spirit and soul. Some people understand that we have a spiritual part that we call soul. So it can change a little bit the understand, but mostly religions people understand that we as human beings we have a spiritual part, and that's what is going to remain after we die. So if we are talking about go to the heavens, for example, and we have that in all the Abrahamic religions, what part of ourselves it's going to the heavens? It's the soul. It's the spiritual part. So that's the way we see that, and actually it's where we carry our identity. Okay, so the mix between the psychological part and the soul, it's what gives us the sense of identity, and that's the reason we are all different. It's not possible to be exactly the same, because that part is completely individual, and it's completely between you and God. And, and as we talked about, He is the creator, and He imprinted on us the spiritual part, and that's how we see more or less. We are
Very beautiful. Thank you for this notion, Mr. Max. Mr. Max, do you have any message for the people out there from your experience as a pastor? Do you have any, let's say, message or some words that you would like to share with the people before we close up the episode? Do you have anything that you would like to share, which I didn't talk about from my side, and you would like to share?
Uh, well, of course, we always have. I think that we are living in a society where the time is going, and we are becoming selfish. We are becoming to. We want to conquer our own things. We want to make money. We want to raise our own family, and we are becoming each time more selfish. So the the way I see,
True.
we have to fight that. We cannot allow ourselves to be selfish anymore. We have to live in society, and we have to live well, and we have to love people and love others and care about others, and take care about the poor one, and take care about the ones that are suffering. You know, these days, depression, anxiety, suicide, and that's happening even more than
Oh yeah.
before. And we cannot understanding that this selfish thinking is bringing us to finish with our health, to completely spoil our mental health. So how can we not see that we are not thinking in a proper way or in a right way? So my message to people is stop, breathe, and start to see that there is people around you, there is families around you, there is a society around you, and find your purpose in order to help people, in order to work in society, in order to love, in order to be there for your friends, of course, for your family, but not only. And then we're gonna have a good life. We find purpose. We cannot end a life with purpose. It's not possible.
That's actually very true what you just mentioned, that the rates of anxiety and depression are skyrocketing now compared to the previous years. And I think it's because we are getting so detached of what makes us humans, and that is we are a social species and we should thrive as a group, but more and more we are getting disconnected from each other.
Yes, perfect, perfect, perfect. That's completely true. And as a pastor, I'm trying to work on that to help people to connect with their own family, their own spouse, their own kids, and also the society, and live a life with love, with comprehension, with friendship, with relationship in a healthy way. So uh, to understand that they are not alone, they are not by themselves, that we can help each other. We can be like hands that wash the other hands, uh, and keep going. And if God allows, we can go on and live our lives with purpose. And to
Beautiful.
I think that the way is to let legacy is what really matters. To live a life in a way that people look to your life and see, oh, Reda was a very good guy. Reda, he helped me. He helped my friend, my family. There is a lot of legacy in his life. There is a lot of things that remains after he's gone. So I want to live this life that people remembers of me after I'm gone. That I led something to the society, and that's what we are looking for.
Mr. Max, thank you so much. I wish we have more people like you in the community. Thank you so much for your knowledge and for what you shared with us here today. I have nothing but happiness and all the best for you and your family, and keep doing what you're doing. Thank you so much.
Thank you, my brother. I am the one to say thank you. I appreciate the conversation. It's
Thank
amazing
you.
opportunity to talk about, and I really wish you to be a blessed man. I bless you, the podcast to prosper a lot, and I know that you
Thank you.
will keep doing this good job. Okay,
Thank you so much. You have a wonderful rest of the day and take care. Ciao.
you too, my brother. Ciao.